Hey everybody, it's me just making another video. I'm having a good day, or I've been having a good week this week. Yesterday my North Carolina Tar Heels won the national championship, and I got $20 yesterday from work. Well, because it was a lost and found, and now it's mine. So yeah, have been having a good day. Saw WrestleMania 25, and this is where we all start from here. WrestleMania 25 was a good pay-per-view. I'm gonna just this is gonna be really my review of WrestleMania 25, but overall it was a good review. It was a good pay per view. There were some matches that didn't live up to the hype, and then there were some that were just plain awful. And this is probably gonna be a two-part video or maybe a one-part video. So instead of me just talking, let's get to this. We start with the first match, which was the Money in the Bank matchup between Shelton Benjamin, Kofi Kingston, Christian Cage, Finley, MVP, CM Punk, Kane, and Mark Henry, I believe. This was a good matchup. And like I said in my previous video, I'm not going to dissect it. I'm just going to say what was good about this match, what some of these matches, and what was bad. This was a good matchup. This had awesome spots in it, like the Shelton Benjamin attempting the senton bomb outside of the ring with on top of the ladder outside of the ring, and my god, it looked like he almost killed himself the way he landed on his head, the way his head landed on the outside of the ring. Thank god he was able to manage to keep going. I don't even know how he even went through that. Then there was the world's strongest slam on the ladder by Mark Henry to Kofi Kingston. That was pretty sick. Then there was a power bomb that MVP did to Shelton Benjamin. That was pretty nice. And then there was another one that was botched, but still, overall, this was a good matchup. Well, the botch spot where Shelton Benjamin botched that power bomb he was attempting to do on MVP off the ladder. But overall, this was a good matchup. Everybody hit their spots. Everybody did their thing in this matchup. It was just like I was said in my prediction video. Kofi Kingston and Shelton Benjamin were your MVPs in this matchup, and they pretty much showed it in this matchup and did a lot of the work in this match. Well, everybody held their own, but Shelton Benjamin and Kofi Kingston were the ones that pretty much stuck out in this matchup. Overall, this was a really good matchup. I enjoyed it. Was gonna give it 4 stars, but I am gonna be generous and give it 3 stars. This was a good matchup, and I loved it. It entertained me. We then go to the number 2 matchup. Well, Kid Rock was playing, and that lasted long. I skipped that, and I just watched the Divas Battle Royal, and I gotta say I was pretty disappointed watching this, as this was really not what I expected from a Divas Battle Royal. I mean, you could hardly see any of the participants. You couldn't tell who was who. It was just a clusterfuck. This was just terrible. I mean, I was trying to see if I can see Sunny in this matchup. Didn't even get a peek of her. I saw a glimpse of her when she left the ring, but I didn't see her at all in this matchup. Didn't see Nydia. Didn't see Tori Wilson. Didn't see the main divas who made the return, with the exception of Trish Stratus and Lita, and I believe Wendy, whatever her name is, she wasn't in this matchup. But the main ones that made the return, I didn't get to see. Well, the exception of Victoria, got to see her. That was the only one I got to see, but this was just a mess. And in the end, Santino Marella ended up winning, as he was dressed as one ugly looking diva, but it was pretty funny at the end with him saying he was Santina or whatever, and then doing the dance, and then of course Beth Phoenix was getting mad. But yeah, the ending was pretty funny, but the match overall sucked big time because of the camera angles and the fact that you couldn't tell who was who because of all the blonde divas. You couldn't tell which diva was which diva. It was just a mess, and didn't like this matchup, and I thought it was horrible, and it didn't come out right. Worst match of the night, and there was another worst match of the night, but I haven't got to it yet. But this was one of the worst matches of the night on this card. We then go to number 3. After Kid Rock played, I'm assuming it was Ricky Steamboat, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Roddy Piper versus Chris Jericho. The first part of this matchup was okay, with Roddy Piper and Jimmy Snuka doing the best of doing what they could do. They couldn't really do much because of their their age and stuff like that. Roddy Piper attempted a drop kick, which he didn't really get off his feet. That was pretty weird. And Jimmy Snuka did some things, but really it kind of got boring in the beginning. And then when Steamboat got tagged in, man, did this match pick up. I mean, you saw some nice arm drags by Ricky Steamboat. You saw a nice tomahawk chop from the top rope by Ricky Steamboat. You saw some nice moves, some nice crisp moves from Ricky Steamboat that was shades of what he did when he was in his prime. And it was just nice to see that. And this man is just in real good shape, and I was shocked at what I saw Ricky Steamboat do because he was so crisp of what he was doing. And then of course after Roddy Piper got eliminated by the Enziguri and Jimmy Superfly Snuka got eliminated by the Walls of Jericho, the matchup picked up even more with Ricky Steamboat and Chris Jericho. It just picked up from where it started when Steamboat got in, and it was good. You got some nice pinfall attempts by Ricky Steamboat, some nice cradle pins and everything like that. It was just nice. And then in the end, Chris Jericho Ricky, he tried to do a suplex on Ricky Steamboat, but Ricky Steamboat reversed it, and he kind of got all dazed, and then Chris Jericho hit the code breaker, and that was it. But overall, this was a enjoyable matchup. Give it 2 stars. And then of course Ric Flair got in, and he tried to get some Chris Jericho, and then of course Chris Jericho got the best of Ric Flair, hit the code breaker, which Ric Flair sold really well. Well, just as well as Steamboat did. And then of course Chris Jericho challenged Mickey Rourke to get in the ring, and Mickey Rourke took his time. He was trying to get the crowd into it, I guess you can tell, because the crowd really wasn't popping that much for him. But as soon as he got in, they did their thing. And then of course the thing with Mickey Rourke and Chris Jericho happened where he hit him in the face, and it really didn't come out that good. And then of course Ric Flair and Rourke embraced. But overall, I really enjoyed this matchup. Just like what I said in the beginning, it kind of got boring in the beginning with Roddy Piper and Jimmy Superfly Snuka. But like I said, when Steamboat got in, the whole pace of this matchup picked up, and it got real good. And I wish the WWE would have just stuck with Steamboat and Chris Jericho. That would have been a good match, just a good one-on-one matchup. But they decided to add 2 more legends, and overall, it was a good matchup for what it was. I give it 2 stars. Then the next matchup we got on here is the Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy matchup. This was a good matchup. You had some nice spots in this matchup, like the chair where the spot where Jeff Hardy went for the Whisper in the Wind, and Matt Hardy hit him while he attempted the Whisper in the Wind. When he went up to try it, when he went up to do it, when he did the move, Matt Hardy hit him. That was a nice spot. There was the splash off the top of the ladder onto the splash onto the table from another table. That was pretty nice. Then there was the spot where Jeff Hardy jumped off one ladder to another to do a leg drop, and then he missed. And then of course Matt Hardy hit the Twist of Fate on Jeff Hardy onto the chair, which looked pretty nasty, but you could tell it really didn't hurt Jeff. But seeing him hit it like that was pretty sick, and it was nasty. And then of course Matt Hardy was your winner. But overall, I really enjoyed this matchup. Give it 3 stars. Yeah, give it 3 stars because this was a really enjoyable matchup, and a matchup that I pretty much got into, and I loved this matchup. It was a typical WWE hardcore matchup. It was good for what it was, and I give it 3 stars. Enjoyed this matchup. Number 5 we go to is Rey Mysterio versus JBL. This was a good match. This was not a good matchup. This was a bad matchup. As JBL came in, he did his thing where he insulted the Houston crowd and said they need a hero like him or something like that. And then of course Rey Mysterio came in this Joker costume. That was a pretty sick outfit. Really loved that. It was, I guess, a tribute to the Joker. And of course the match didn't start. The referee was telling them the stuff, and then of course the match didn't start. JBL got a cheap shot in. He was hitting Rey Mysterio, and then the referee told him to back away. Then the match started, and then of course that's when Rey Mysterio hit him with the 619, and that was it. And the match lasted for, I believe it was